Let's turn our attention to Vincent Murphy now and business news. And one of the recommendations that came out of the recent economic summit at Farmlee was that Irish companies should look east for our opportunities. Today we're going to talk about doing business in China. Dublin City University has been hosting a workshop this afternoon for those interested in breaking into the market there. Vincent, you've been speaking to some of those involved. How is China's economy doing at the moment?
Well, it was affected like everybody else by the global downturn, but it's doing okay. China's economy has stabilised, and just today an advisor to its central bank said it was on track to achieve economic growth of more than 8% this year, and that's more than most countries around the world. So we know it's the fifth biggest consumer market in the world. Last year, according to CSO figures, Irish exports there grew by almost 8%, and they were worth €2.3 billion. Cathy Houlihan works as the China market advisor with Enterprise Ireland, and she helps Irish companies who want to get a foothold there.
China opened for trade back in 1979 and I think was number 33 of the export nations for Ireland. That has now grown to the 10th position in the world, 10th position for Ireland, in exporting.
Now, what kind of sectors are there opportunities for there at the moment?
Well, in terms of Ireland Inc., the most valuable exports are around the pharmaceutical area and software. For the indigenous sector, which Enterprise Ireland looks after, our biggest growth sectors would be education, food, technology, agriculture, clean tech. If I look at what the activities were for Enterprise Ireland over the last year and those for next year, we're finding also some growth areas in the finance sector. We've regulations opened up between the two countries for financial companies to do business and construction industry.
Now, is it just for the big boys? You know, are there small and medium enterprise companies for whom there are opportunities in China, or when they're listening to this, are they going to say, well, that's just the big players?
Small and big, but the one caveat, and that's the reason we have a division in Enterprise Ireland just looking after these particular markets, it is a demanding market. It does require a certain level of robustness in a company. It does take resources, and resources are time, money and personnel in entering these markets correctly.
Cathy Houlihan of Enterprise Ireland there, and she mentioned a lot of different sectors where there's potential. There's lots of different ways to do business in China. For example, education, that's a big growth area, and basically that means getting Chinese students over here, creating links with Chinese universities. We've got an English language environment here which they're crying out for. You have some companies then exporting their goods to China. For example, people will know the Porterhouse brewery bar chain. It's a brand that's looking to break into the China market. It has never been there before, and it's managed to get a place at the World Expo in Shanghai next year. It'll be the only pub or restaurant brand there that's not already established in China that'll have a stand at Expo. So that's an example of people going over there to sell the goods. And also, of course, you've got the companies who want to use the fact of cheap labour over there and set up their manufacturing facilities. Another example, a Dublin company, Aqueduct Investments, they've developed new water cooling technology, high-tech stuff that's in production in China at the moment. They were both speaking at today's workshop as well.
Potential is enormous, but there must be obstacles to doing business there.
Yeah, well, clearly the language is one that comes to mind straight away. But actually, that's one of the easiest obstacles to overcome, because there are lots of good interpretation and translation resources out there. So actually, the most difficult thing is getting used to doing business in what is a completely different culture. And it's something I've been talking about with Deirdre Walsh, who runs a company called China Green. It's a consultancy which helps Irish businesses do business in China, and it has offices in Shanghai and here in Dublin.
One of the big differences is really how important relationships are, and it's very critical to develop a long-term view in the market and a long-term view to developing supportive relationships and relationships with stakeholders at every level. And without those relationships, you're not going to do good business, long-term business in China.
So it's important to get out there and meet the people face to face?
Absolutely. Doing business in China is not something you do at arm's length. It's not something that's done in one trip or one visit, no matter how exciting the prospect or the opportunity. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes commitment to the market. China is a fast developing economy. It's the fastest growing consumer market in the world. Plenty of companies are going over there looking for business, looking to do trade, and the good companies, the good buyers, the good suppliers in China can pick and choose who they do business with.
So other than the need to invest a lot of time and actually have face-to-face meetings, are there other differences in the business culture?
It's a different negotiation space. It's probably not as direct in terms of getting an answer to a proposition. It's often difficult to get a straight no to an answer, because if you're getting on very well with someone, you've made a good connection with a company out in China, the last thing they want to say to you is no, I'm not interested, because culturally that's quite a difficult thing to do, and that's hard for a go-getting, energetic, enthusiastic business person to deal with.
And that was Deirdre Walsh of China Green. She was talking there to Vincent Murphy of our business staff. If you want to find out more about China Green, go to their website. It's chinagreen.ie now.